Looks like somebody pulled the plug too soon. That Rambo guy is on the loose again.
Shit.
Roger, Steamboat. This is Trapper. We're setting up roadblocks on Highway 26.
We'll now go to LD 369 and act to allow repurposed military vehicles to be registered and operated on Maine roads. This is sponsored by Senator Libby. LD 369.
Great. So this is the bill that allows for repurposed military vehicles to be registered and operated on Maine roads. There was some additional committee information request that was to compare to the law in New Hampshire. There is no law that prohibits or allows for registration of repurposed military vehicles in New Hampshire, but it seems, at least anecdotally from blogs and such, that they are able to be registered, but there doesn't seem to be a law that allows or prohibits it. They are allowed in 8 states, which is North Carolina, Minnesota, Colorado, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Nebraska, Louisiana, and Idaho. It was requested for the work session list of how many accidents have happened with repurposed military vehicles. I don't know if the department would like to come up to provide that, and there's no fiscal note at this time.
Go ahead, Representative White.
Make a motion that we amend this bill to drop the 10,000-pound weight and ought to pass. And I have a copy of a court case in Wisconsin that I'd like to pass out that may clarify a few things for us.
So you're making a motion of ought to pass as amended, dropping the 10,000 weight requirement.
Yes, and we also have a booklet that I handed out this morning from
Okay.
a gentleman in Dover, Foxcroft, that if you'll turn to page 4 on that, classifies military vehicles and their roadworthiness. And I think along with from that and the court case in Wisconsin, that we ought to pass this.
Okay, so you've made a motion. Is there a second for the motion? Seconded by Representative Albert.
Before you continue, you want to remove, so this is section 6 that says weight limit. A demilitarized vehicle registration plate may not be issued for a motor vehicle that does not exceed 10,000 pounds. Do you have a weight limit on that, or any weight? Any weight?
Sorry, as long as they're roadworthy and pass a safety inspection.
So we have a motion on the table. It's been seconded. Committee discussion. Representative Ankleys.
Is it okay to ask a question of other members of the committee or not?
I think he works at his.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Can Representative, is this in federal court or Wisconsin state court?
It says State of Wisconsin Division of Hearings and Appeals.
Okay.
And to speak further to this, Elwood Edgerly from Dover Foxcroft is here, and he's been one of the people who had his registration pulled. And if you have any questions, I think he could probably answer them better than I could. Would you like to come up, Elwood?
I want to thank you for giving me a chance to speak on this. If you have any questions, the document that you do have in front of you does specify that the military did have specs on federal motor vehicle safety standards, and they're all listed in this. It goes right down to windshields, tires, windshield wipers, they had to meet certain specs. This was devised in 1986. It was revised. So they do try to comply with all federal motor vehicle safety standards, and it's spelled out right in there in the book. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll be opposing the motion because I'll make another motion after, just like I did on the previous bills, LD 63, that I think that these should be all taken up at once. And if we're gonna make changes, we should make them after we hear the Senator Chipman's bill, and take them all up at once. And if we're gonna make changes, I don't think we should be picking each bill out and trying to amend them to fit that specific thing. I think we need to, if we're gonna make changes, we need to do that with all of them.
Additional committee discussion? Senator Farren?
Yeah, and even if we're considering opening it up, I guess I'd ask Representative White just his thoughts. You know, we spent a lot of time talking about roads and bridges and conditions and stuff, and why would you, what is the rationale for not having any weight limit at all?
No, I didn't say no weight limit at all. I said, open it to all classes of vehicles. So instead of restricting this to just one category of vehicles, all vehicles that fell into classes that we currently license. I have no issue with someone registering a Humvee or someone registering a truck that weighs over 10,000 pounds. I wouldn't want, something that weighs 400,000 pounds. It's in specific classes that we currently license in their appropriate classes and inspected to the standards of those classes as we currently do with other vehicles.
Go ahead, Senator Farren.
And I also, besides just the registration, the safety piece, I mean, I have a problem setting up a whole new class of registration, vehicle registration plates and the 3 numbers. I mean, we're setting this up as a whole different class, and we've got the whole license plate study to go through and do that we've been talking about. And this bill not only makes that change, but it does add the registration plates as a special class as well.
Go ahead, Representative White.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would have no problem amending this to allow these vehicles to have the same registration that any other vehicle in their class holds, as long as they pass the same safety inspection from a state inspector.
Go ahead, Representative Farren, Senator Farren.
So again, we talk about moving things through and having discussions. I really think if we're talking about changing this bill that dramatically, that those that are in support of doing that needs to take the time to come up with the amendment that brings something back that we can look at language and have a discussion. So following what Representative Perry said, as well as this, I make a motion that we table LD 369.
So we have a motion to table LD 369, seconded by Representative Perry, motion made by Senator Farren. That's non-debatable, so that ends our discussion, and we can vote now on the motion to table. And if that doesn't carry, we can continue to discuss. But all those in favor of the motion to table the bill, please signify. Those opposed? So that motion carries. So LD 369 is tabled, and we'll close the work session LD 369.
Looks like somebody pulled the plug too soon. That Rambo guy is on the loose again.
Roger, Steamboat. This is Trapper. We're setting up roadblocks on Highway 26.